Yo, it's just gone 1:15. It is a Wednesday, so it is time for the producer spotlight. I'm cackling like this because I don't really know what's going on with Mr. Instro.
Yeah, it's...
Hey, Mr. Instro.
Hello.
What's wrong? Let's talk about it. Let's squash it. What's happening with you?
No, I'm just a little nervous today. I won't even...
What's different about today? I mean, you know me, you know Stefan, you know Just Tools.
Well, do you really want to know?
I really do want to know.
Okay. There's a special somebody who's listening right now.
Hey, where are my air horns? Hold on. Let me kill this bed. Huh? Girl, the way you love me. Girl, you're my special somebody. Whomsoever you are, this is for you.
Ish.
Oh, Mr. Instro.
Nerves.
Hmm?
Nerves.
Is it like this now?
No, actually, you know what? It's DJ Scratch Day today, so we need to focus. we really need to focus.
All right, guys, let's get serious.
Yes.
Mr. Instro,
Yeah.
DJ Scratch, what's
DJ
popping?
Scratch, yo, welcome to another installment of the Producers Spotlight, and today we have DJ Scratch, and DJ Scratch is like, he reminds me a lot of DJ High Tech, right?
Okay, how
and
so?
that's because there's a certain discipline that comes with his sound. He's actually one of those, like, he will never ever need a tag, because when you hear his music, you kind of like, you kind of hear the influence, you know,
Right.
very musically driven. That orchestral sound is always there. And you know, DJ High Tech has like sort of like the same discipline, and you know how they sample records is very it's almost like a skill on its own,
Right.
very clean production, very loopy and subtle, you know. Not a lot of people are familiar with DJ Scratch or his production,
Right.
but the songs that have videos, you know, I mean, we played this LL Cool J song,
Yes.
and it's a very popular song. A lot of people didn't know that it's a DJ Scratch production.
Right.
Same with Gimme Some More.
Busta Rhymes, yeah.
In fact, that's where pretty much as a producer, DJ Scratch kind of like found his feet, right?
Right.
But if we have to track back, we need to go back to his DJing days.
Okay.
Right? Which is what I really want to, you know, spend some time on, because being a DJ it's imperative in today's, you know, music scene.
Right.
I think those are the new A&Rs, the new curators of what's dope. You know, that's why you'll find that it's DJs who are, you know, the big company A&Rs, and they're out there, you know, scouting for talent.
Right.
Because their job pretty much takes the life of what a producer does.
Okay.
With that, I think DJ Scratch kind of he symbolizes that, because the 90s are solid,
Right.
with his productions, especially the stuff from New York, the Brooklyn sound.
Yes.
He's on almost like every prominent album that came out in the mid 90s.
Right.
You know, I'm talking your EPMD, I'm talking your Busta Rhymes, Onyx.
Oh, wow.
You know, very deep into, you know, the emerging New York sound.
Right.
And I think it's important to have that kind of, you know, network, especially, and you can't really get it if you don't have like the DJ skill set. I think it's very important to have like that thing that says, I can rock a crowd, and I can rock you in studio too.
Right. So let's tap into that a little bit, you know, because especially where DJs are concerned, over the past few years, the narrative has not always been so friendly, because at some point in time, like happens when we're speaking about rappers, it's like everybody wants to be a rapper, or now all of a sudden everybody can rap. And at some point in time, the focus was on DJs in the same way.
Yeah.
And people were like, everybody who's got a USB now feels like they can be a DJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as far as you're concerned, what makes a good DJ, and what are the qualities that a good DJ has?
That's a great question, because it also falls in line with what it takes to be a good producer.
Right.
You know, it's one and the same thing. You have to be able to read a crowd. You understand? You have to be able to play a song and understand what the reaction is, you know, whether people are feeling it, whether they don't, or they're indifferent. I think that's a very important skill that a DJ needs to have. I mean, we can debate about technicality, you know, about you need to be able to scratch, you know, you need to be able to mix smoothly, but you know, some of the most legendary DJs do none of that stuff, you know, but
those who can do those things generally often tend to stand out
absolutely
a lot more. If I think of a P Cutter, if I think of an Akio as well,
that's actually like, I guess the two you've mentioned kind of like study the fundamentals of the skill of and the art form. You know, we'd actually call them turntablists.
Yes.
Right. Being a DJ kind of is broad because it also, you know, taps into the radio space.
Yes.
Right. So if you're a DJ and you're on radio, that means that people are listening to you, so you need to understand and entertain them even when you can't see them.
True.
You know, and that's a skill on its own. And that's what a producer needs to do, the intuition and also studying, understanding what the market is like and what it wants, right? Right now we've got especially in hip hop, where a lot of I remember last week, very interesting story. Last week, DJ Spoo asked us in the room, guys, what is South African hip hop? And me being the my mouth sometimes.
What happened to you? What did you do?
I was very, but then it turns out to have some sort of truth, right?
Yes.
That he asked us, yo, so what is South African hip hop?
Yes.
And I said to him, South African hip hop is American hip hop made in South Africa. That's what I said. I said it's American hip hop made in South Africa, because a lot of the stuff that we call authentic hip hop, right, is looked down on, or like it's not even embraced, right? The stuff that actually kind of like is blowing up is the stuff that the guys in the States are doing, you know. If we're singing on the track now and talking about leaning and talking about, that's what we do. We just follow suit and we do that. And I think it's not even because we lack the skills or we lack the music. I think that's where it becomes important to be a curator, to be a guy that says, yo, have you guys heard of Zulu Mecca? Have you guys heard of so and so? Have you guys heard of this thing that's there outside of what you're hearing on the mainstream? And you need DJs to be at the forefront of that. And I think it's slowly building up. You know, you start to see the difference when you start seeing DJs A&Ring for big companies like Universal. I think that's a first step in the right direction. A big congratulations to DJ Slick. He was also put in the department at Sony, right? He's like a head of hip hop, something like that, but that's a step in the right direction. That tells us that DJs actually kind of like have an idea and can without a doubt tell us and lead us into what's hot
and be the tastemakers
because that's actually what they are. DJs are supposed to be the tastemakers that tell us what's dope and what's not. And with people like DJ Scratch, you can always count on the fact that what they produce at that time is what is needed at that time. You know what I mean? Like a very tricky and very experimental joint like More. I mean, when that came out, it was like, what is this?
What is this?
You know what I mean? And it took the scene by storm. People loved it, and it became a big club banger. And that's the kind of mentality we need here in this country, where people aren't afraid to experience what's going on, and to put these experiences in these songs and make these songs sound newer,
right?
And that, for me, like, that's where we're lacking. We need like a serious intervention when it comes to like just getting into the right spaces and playing the right kind of music.
So we speak about DJs being primed in terms of the skills and qualities that they have to move into spaces like being A&Rs, right?
Yes.
And we've seen over the years how DJs easily transition and move from DJ into now DJ producer.
Right.
But it's not very often that you see producer moving into DJing.
Yes.
Do you think that it's, I wouldn't say necessary, but is it advisable to learn the skill of DJing if you eventually want to be a producer?
Yeah.
Should you start there, or can you just be a producer without necessarily having to go the DJ route? Is there any merit in having skills as both?
Yeah. DJ Scratch is a great example of this. Although he started his process like inversely, like
right.
he was a DJ, or he is a DJ, and he's just killing it on the production side as well. But I'll use me as an example, right? Or Muzi. Mm-hmm. I think Muzi, as much as you can say that he's not really hip hop, but like he comes from a hip hop background.
Right.
That's how I met him. You know what I mean? Like, he was a hip hop producer, and he sort of like transitioned into an artist. Started off as a producer, and I can DJ. I've been. I
was going to ask you, can you DJ?
Yeah.
Why don't I know this about you?
I actually have no idea, because I've DJ'd a couple of cool outs.
Yeah, but at cool out I was late. I don't know what you're saying.
Okay.
Cool out I was late.
I've done a couple of events, man, but I'll be honest and say it's not one of, and maybe it's because of who I was surrounded with. You know when you're surrounded by experts,
yes,
people that actually do this like it's easy, and then when you go on, it's like, yeah, it's okay, it's smooth, but it wasn't as spectacular as these guys do it. So I've never really had the passion for it, and I don't like to do anything that I'm not passionate about. Just
like me.
Exactly. So, and that's really like what's important. I think production for me that's like my baby. That's everything to me, and growing into the DJ space was just, to see a different dimension of how can I relate to the crowd, or can I move the crowd at all? It's a more instant way of getting a reaction from what you play.
Yes.
Whereas when you're a producer, you're sitting in studio making like assumptions, like I know they're gonna feel this, or you're playing against numbers.
Yes.
Which is like a different ball game altogether. But I think there is like, I think it would make more sense to start with the DJing, because that gives you a sort of like idea of, you might see something, because it's so instant.
Yes.
You might see something that the next DJ wouldn't, and I think as much as he's outside of hip hop, I think that's what Black Coffee did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he was part of a group, and they did this live thing, and he saw something.
Yeah.
He saw something that the rest of the people didn't see, and he ran with it. And next thing you know, he's one of the biggest DJs and producer in the world, bruh. In the world.
Yeah.
So I think that goes a long way to be able to say, cool, let me DJ and learn the art and learn what it takes. Just like your DJ Scratches, your DJ High Techs. I mean, these are DJs, but they're very well versed and skilled, experienced music producers. You know,
Right.
you can sit with them and they'll play an instrument for you. You can sit with them and they'll scratch the living daylights out of a turntable.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's, oh man, it would be so dope to have a culture, especially here in Africa, where we have people that that respect that kind of art and that expect it from, you know, the people that are in the forefront of, you know, the music space. I think there needs to be technical skill.
Yeah.
Because that's where you sort of like understand what it takes and you don't play anything down. You know what I mean?
True.
Unlike people who get into that space and they don't know anything. So it's easy. It's easy for them to dismiss hard work.
This is true.
You know, that's why a lot of skilled DJs don't really get shine, because the people who are in front don't really know what it takes.
And we can say that about a lot of other elements.
Of course we can.
Of hip hop. That's been your producer spotlight for today. It's